Yeah, yeah. You got
Perfect.
everything ready?
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go.
All right, we got it. All right, I'm gonna bump you down just a little bit. Okay. So yeah, we should be good.
Yeah, sounds good. You can hear me still?
Good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Oh, let me add really quickly. Noise gate. I can never. I mean, no one's here, but um, I'm so used to streaming on Twitch and like getting my viewers. Uh, but so um, yeah, you're gonna be watching me much like LM.
Right. Yeah, we'll go through it.
Yeah,
So,
50 attack time 250. Got you. Okay. Okay, there we go. So we're good to go.
all
Completely.
right. Cool, cool, cool.
All right.
Ready, man.
So I'll just for the sake of anyone that's gonna rewatch this, I'll give a little intro. So hello everyone, welcome to the Back to Brilliance Mastermind. We're doing it live, and this is gonna be a little bit different to the style of our podcast, what it typically is. But basically, we're gonna look at some sources. We're gonna break things down and just kind of mess around, have some fun, and just kind of freestyle.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds good. Yeah, guys, we're here. Normally we just do our podcasts and post that, but we want to take it a step further. So today we decided to go live with our first mastermind. And like Joseph said, we're going to go over a couple of things. We're going to show you some of the tips and tricks and tools that we use, to help us with AI and stuff like that. So yeah, we're just gonna freestyle and have a good time. So thank you guys if you guys are watching this later on. you know um yeah, it's gonna be some good stuff, so just stay tuned with us, and we're gonna keep doing these uh more often and setting up some other stuff, so we'll get into that a little bit more as the night progresses.
Yeah, definitely. All right, just wanted to check on my end that we're live. All right, cool. Yeah, so basically, again, we're just gonna have some fun. We're gonna for the first like 10-15 minutes, I kind of just want to just kind of vibe and kind of feel things out, and then we will hop into actually looking into a book that we wanted to break down in Notebook LM.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's good, man. So again, if you guys are just tuning in, thank you guys for jumping in and hanging with us. So yeah, we're gonna show you some of the tools and tricks that we've been using, for our mastermind and just coming up with ideas and stuff like that. So like if you're stuck, this is what Joseph has here is the power of your subconscious mind by Joseph Murphy. Really good book. I don't know if you've ever read this book, but we're gonna go through it and just show you some good, bring out the golden nuggets out of it, and show you, some things to help you to apply it. Really good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I've fallen asleep to this book quite a few times. So I personally have a playlist that I listen to and that I play, and I can't pull it up super. Oh, here, um let me see if I
Yeah,
can
this is
pull
a
it up
really good
quickly.
book. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
While
yeah,
you're
yeah.
doing
It's
that, I'll,
super.
I'll go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah. Keep chime in.
Yeah, but this is one of the books. I found this book a few years ago. I was just kind of like scrolling on my Amazon Kindle, and I was like, yeah, let me find a good book. So this is one of the, sometimes they give you the free books. So this is one of them. And I was like, oh man, this is cool. And now look at they sell it right there for $7, So I came up on it for free, but it's one of those ones like in the middle of the night. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, let me just read, that's going to help me go back to sleep. And I read this and it's got a lot of insight and a lot of stuff, to unpack. So yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so all right, I just got it pulled up. So I have two playlists that I love to listen to, that I created myself. These are playlists that are videos that I used to pull up over and over again. I got tired of pulling them up, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make a playlist because I'm tired of going through my history and pulling them
Right.
up over and over again. So it's at the very bottom, but it's because I have the long books at the bottom. That way, it's a little bit easier to for me to remember. And the first five books are the books that I recommend the most. And
Mm,
so, and then the like I said, the bottom books are the long books, and it's from the bottom to top. So I recommend this book the most, and then The Power of Your Subconscious Mind the second most in the playlist. And so I love it. I I won't say that I've heard the full thing through consciously, but I've definitely heard the book in my sleep probably 20 to 15 times. I've heard it a lot. And I've seen a couple book reports, or there's a gentleman who does like book reviews, not book reviews, but
summaries.
yeah,
Yeah,
book
yeah, the
summaries.
summary.
Yeah, book
Yeah.
summaries. Yeah. So he goes over the like the main ideas, the mind map of it, and yeah, it's a super powerful book. And so yeah, let's get into the book. So
Yeah, for sure.
what's
It's dope, bro. Good
yeah,
stuff.
what stands out to you the most about it?
I think it's just a lot of times it's the subconscious, right? Which comes back to like the habits that we form, you know? So sometimes like we don't even realize that we're just on autopilot. And that's kind of like, one of the things that it kind of, goes down amongst many other things, But yeah, I think it's just the subconscious mind. Sometimes we don't realize that, we're doing things just by habit. So
Yeah, definitely. And that's really where I stumbled upon it, was listening to the same YouTuber who I just talked about. He really he was like saying this is a prerequisite book to everything. If you're trying to get into mindset and like mental reprogramming, you really need to listen to this book or read this book because it's so pivotal to learning or to really understanding the power of your subconscious mind, right? Like
right.
if you impress upon, as he likes to say, your mind, if you try to impress upon positive thoughts and affirmations, then your subconscious mind will pick up on it, right? People say your mind doesn't know the difference between truth and fiction, and
Right.
it only knows what you give it every day.
Yeah, and that's why I said sometimes even with just the I'm sorry, for the habits, we don't even realize that we do things, you know what I mean? It's just that's why they try to tell you like to break the power of your subconscious, like, even do little tips and tricks. I think you had shared the last time, like just even as simple as try brushing your teeth with the opposite hand, that's
Yes,
that's a tool, or trick.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I won't talk about the other stuff because it's more so about the second book that was
Right.
recommended. But really, just saturating your mind with positive or positivity, right? That's why we say daily affirmations, because the more that we do it, the more our subconscious mind will soak it in, right? Because
Right.
that's where all that's where all of the mental programming it lays. So people don't even realize, like, hey, someone telling me, hey, you're a star, you're a stud, you're amazing, that will imprint in your subconscious mind because as you go on through life, you'll probably repeat that phrase over and over again, whether you realize it or not, or if it's like a memory, you know, you'll replay that phrase, whether it's positive or negative.
Right. No, and that's one of the points I like in the book, and we'll break down. But it's like your subconscious mind doesn't, it doesn't argue with you. It just accepts what you give it,
Hmm.
So that's why I say like our habits form us and stuff like that. But we'll get more into it, bro. Yeah, for sure. So for those of you guys that are tuning in, this is kind of what we're going to be breaking down. We're going to go through a book, this book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and that's what we're all about, right? Is just building that mindset, to help you to be aware and to overcome so that way you can continue to grow.
Yes, definitely. And continuing to grow, a lot of it is learning through wisdom or learning new knowledge. And books are one of the best ways to learn. That's nothing new, but there's a lot of really good books out there that have been either on bookshelves for years or maybe your bookshelf for years. So we're going to
Right.
unpack them and, just dive into them, make them interactive, and make it fun.
Right. Well, that's what they say, right? If you want to hide the truth in plain sight, put it in a book because most people won't read, and it's important that we do because, that's the way out of the situation is wisdom, knowledge, and understanding along with application.
Yeah, very, very true. I mean, I'm not gonna stand here and pretend like I'm perfect. I'm one of those people that won't read the book. I I typically, this is my habit with reading, or my bad habit with reading. I'll get 40 pages in and then I won't pick it up again. So
Right.
yeah,
No,
that
yeah, that happens to the best of us, bro. I
yeah.
I mean, I think at one time I was reading about 8 books. Um and it was like I'd read a chapter here out of this book and a chapter out of there, and then I jump to another book and another book. And 6 months in, and I'm like, I'm only 3 chapters in on each book. So it's kind of, yeah, I feel you, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there was a I forgot who he was, but he was a big reader, and he was saying that he goes through 3 books, or he'll rotate between 2 to 3 different books at a time. Maybe not 8, and maybe that's where the improvement is. But that way he doesn't get too bored of one book.
Right.
So yeah, that's that's funny that you were saying that. So I just want to start the breakdown of the book. So
All right.
we are using Notebook LM. It is a Google product. So basically, all you have to do is type in Notebook LM, and you'll get it on. It'll pull up on Google. It's it's a Google product, so it'll be the first one every time. So
Right.
basically, you sign in. If you have a Google account, you just use your whatever your Google sign in is, and boom, you'll have Notebook LM. So I have Notebook LM Plus, but that's because of my account has I have the Google Business Suite. Don't worry about that. Just want to mark that for anyone that says like, oh, why does it say Plus for you but not for me? That's why.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Good point.
yeah, yeah, thank you. So let's just break it down. So basically, you want to add your source, whatever source you want to use. It could be any of these options. It could be any of these options. And so I personally have the book, the PDF. So let's upload that PDF. I also just a little um
Maybe go
curveball.
back to that, bro, while you're still in the Notebook LM.
Yeah.
Go back to an ad, so that way, for those that don't know, maybe just kind of show a little bit. So, like you were saying, you can do the Google Docs, so you can
Mm-hmm.
throw that in. Um, Click the one, paste text. So if you had text, you can just throw your text in here and insert that as well. And then
Yeah.
close that one out. And then if you had it's pretty self-explanatory, but sometimes, maybe some people are not savvy. So this is kind of what we're showing you guys to help you guys to do that. So you could do copy text, throw a URL in there, which is a website or a YouTube link, or like Joseph just did, a PDF. So
Yep. And I'm gonna throw a curveball. I'm gonna throw a YouTube link. I'm gonna throw that breakdown of the video or the book breakdown
oh,
that
okay.
Joseph Rodriguez does. So
Yeah.
it'll
So
be
what are the
double layered.
sources, bro? Can you explain that to them?
Yeah, so the sources are pretty much, I mean, it's a source. So whenever you ask Notebook LM a question, it will cite its source, right? So I mean, it will reference back to the source that you uploaded, and then be like, hey, from this excerpt, this is where I got this information, right? So if I were to give a little demonstration, so I will say, what are the key points to knowing about the power of your conscious mind? So it will then generate a response. It's a little bit slow, but it's because it's pretty in depth. It goes pretty. The responses are pretty good. So there we go.
Yeah, it's
So
analyzing the data and
yes,
then giving you a return on your question. So yeah.
yeah, exactly. So here we go. This is the full response from my one question. That's a pretty long response.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it will read it out, and then if you hover over or if you click it, so it's saying from this source, it got its answer from that source. So it's like
Mm.
whenever you're citing your sources online or in a book report or whatever, you have to cite your sources. Boom. So then it highlights what where it got that information from. And so it will even tell you which source it was. So it's getting it from the book. So boom, I know that in the book it says this.
Right. Good stuff, bro. All right, cool, man. Thanks for educating us on that, bro.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely. Yeah, so let's just. I'm not gonna read it out loud per se, unless you want to, Henry.
Mm-mm.
Uh,
We're good, bro. We're gonna go on and continue with what we got going, but just for demonstration.
yeah.
So, and if you want to save this, there's a button at the bottom down there that you could save it to the notes, so you could
Yes.
reference it later. You know.
Yeah. So right here, boom, you can save it to notes. So that will save it here. That way, if you're busy doing a bunch of other stuff, and you want to pull this response back up, you could pull it right back up. So let me refresh it. That way, it will clear the history. So boom. So now it will have it like that, or like as a note. So I'm curious. I love doing this. So I'm gonna make a mind map of it
Mm-hmm.
because this will guide you into questions. So whenever you make a mind map, it will show you all of the concepts that the sources that all of your sources talk about, and then right. So conscious mind, relationship between blah 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 blah. So I can either click the topic, or I could expand upon the topic. And whenever I let's see, okay, yeah. So let's do this one, right? So it talks about mental picture becomes reality with faith. So once I click it, it will ask it a question automatically. So I don't even need to necessarily come up with questions. All I
Mm.
have to do is look at the mind map, and it will automatically generate questions. And sometimes go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, so it's a cheat code shortcut. It asks us questions that maybe we might not originally think of, so it helps you to kind of like um, see questions that, like I said, you wouldn't normally ask.
Yes, definitely. And so sometimes once you expand upon something, right? I mean, you can expand all of these. Sometimes it will go even deeper than level one. Not all the time, but sometimes it will branch off into even more. It's fun to just kind of expand everything and get a good overview of things. It's just a cool way to demonstrate or to visualize what everything has, or like everything that
Right.
your sources has, and then you can download the mind map as a PNG, so that you could
Nice.
store it for later, or like if you want to use it for a book report or whatever the case may be.
Cheat sheet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna close out of this, and then okay. So let's just see what it said. So again, I clicked one of the topics in the sources. Actually, I'm gonna do this one. So
That's
boom,
very powerful tool, bro. Very
yeah,
powerful.
extremely. And so I'm not gonna read all this out, but I do want to get the clip notes, or like just like the headers. That way I can kind of know what it's talking about as we're going
Yeah,
through
what I
this.
usually do right there and that is I
Hmm.
would just say, put this all in bullet points, you know? So it'll give you all the highlights of that, and you'll have everything pretty much, and it breaks it down a little bit or simplify it. I usually say simplify in bullet points. But yeah, no, definitely because it does get yeah, it's still even a lot.
Yeah. So if anyone is not too savvy with AI, because this is an AI, right? And so a lot of working with AI is knowing how to tell it exactly what you want, right? So
Right,
I was just trying to word for word say what Henry said,
right.
but
Put a
basically,
better prompt.
yeah, I didn't tell it enough things. So it
Right.
put them in bullet points, but it didn't know that I wanted it to be simplified into bullet points, or put simplified bullet points. So here, that was a level 1 prompt, right? Because I was just telling it what to do. But now I'm going to level up this prompt, right? So I want you to simplify. Right? So basically, I got even more specific. I got more information. That way, it knows a little bit more, right? So I want you
Right.
to simplify these topics into bullet points, and keep the bullet points to just 2 to 3 sentences. And if you want to expand upon them, then put the sources slash citations on each bullet point. So that way, hopefully, it'll be a bullet point, and then all of these numbers will be next to it. Hopefully, I'm not too sure how I want to say how cooperative
Yeah.
Notebook L is, or Notebook LM is.
Yeah, but that's a good point though, bro. And that's the simple way. Yeah, saying it still put it in there, but even being specific, so um we're gonna teach you guys these things, so it helps you guys to be more efficient with these tools.
Yeah, definitely, because I could have made this one prompt into 4 other prompts, right? I could have said simplify these topic into bullet points. Okay, keep the bullet, and then like it press enter, and then it would have done its thing. Then I could have told it step 2, and then step 3, right? But instead, I gave all 3 instructions in one prompt, and that's a big thing about working with AI. Is, again, you want to make it as specific as you can. That way, it knows exactly what you're thinking, because a lot of the time, a lot of people will, they assume that AI knows what you're thinking, but it doesn't, right? So you have to really tell it what you want and what you don't want.
Right.
All right, so this is still pretty good. It is. Let's check it. So, it's, damn, that's a long ass sentence. That's
Yeah.
one. So that was realistically only 2 sentences, right? But it looks really long. And so the little ellipses right here is like a little it's like compressed, right? I'm trying to think of the technical term for it, but
Collapse, maybe.
collapse.
Yeah.
There we go. It's
There you go.
collapsed. So if I click the ellipses, then boom, it will show all of the citations, right? So now I have all of the bullet points condensed, and then I have all the citations, right? So I'm going to save it to my notes as well. But here's a cool thing that you could do. So I don't think it will keep the citations because this is more so like for me to double check the work in a way. But
Right.
what I will do is I will copy it, add, and then copy the text. And then
Got
boom.
you. Very nice.
So just for convenience sake, I'm going to rename it to
So what he's doing
yeah.
here is he's creating another source out of the content that was fed to us through the AI. So, for those of you guys that don't know, I know that it seems elementary, but sometimes it's not explained, it's not understood. So we
Yeah.
want you to understand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So exactly what Henry just said. So I made essentially the note, right? Because we made this into a note. So what I did was I copied the note and then put it as a source. That way, this topic that we used in the mind map, that way it's a source, right? So now all of the information from this source right here, because we just made it into a source. Now it will refer to all of this information as its own source. So it's kind of like putting bookmarks in it and then referring back to those bookmarks, if anything.
Right. Good stuff.
So I also just want to mess with Gemini a little bit. So this is also another Google product. So if you type in, I'm sure if you even type in Gemini, yeah. So if you click Gemini or type in Gemini and then click on it again, sign up through your Google or just sign up with whatever email you want, and then boom, you'll be taken to this screen. So I want to work with Gemini to come up with some cool and nifty questions. So I am working with Notebook LM. So, like I said earlier, knowing how to prompt AI is a big thing. Not that everyone who's gonna watch will become a whole uh, prompt engineer, as they call it, but just kind of learn as I'm going, because we're gonna do this very often or a lot more often. So just pick up a couple things. I'll explain my thought process, and hopefully, you can learn through osmosis, as I like to say. But
Right.
first off, what I always like to do is I like to tell whatever AI that I'm talking to, I want it to know what tool I'm using. That way, if I need to troubleshoot or whatever, or if it's like contextualized, it will know what I'm working with, right? So if I were working with so if I were making a book report, so I'm making a book report, I'm working with GPT, whatever the case may be, whatever the tool may be, tell AI what tool you're using. That way it knows how to help you out better.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, there's a lot of tools out there, guys, so like fool around with them all, find out what works best for you. We found that we do use a lot, but Notebook LM really is a research tool and breaks down a lot of things for you. Gemini, you know, is because it's a Google product, it's just simple to use, in my opinion.
Yes, yeah. And
So
we could be using ChatGPT. However, ChatGPT is not completely free, whereas Gemini is for the most part pretty free. And
right.
so also it's a Google product, so I just kind of want to keep it in the same ecosystem. Um and again, you could just very quickly make a Gemini account.
Which most people already have. If you have a Gmail account, you have access to these tools already. So,
Exactly.
sometimes I felt like, oh man, we're sounding simplified, which we are, because there is a lot of people that are not up to it. So we're a part of this, mastermind is we're also trying bringing and integrating AI tools to help you to be more efficient, faster, and to help you to grow. So
Yeah, definitely. And this is where the world is at right now. Everyone is using AI. So instead of us, you know, I want to incorporate AI into our lessons because AI is now an integral part of working every day, right? So whether or not you want to work with AI, AI is here. It's here to help you. And if we demystify, if we show that's not a big scary thing, hopefully by the end of it, you'll feel more confident to boot up Gemini and ask it some random questions.
right, and that just goes back, bro, to like you have to adapt. That's just like back. It was fax machines, and people were like, "No, stick with this," and email came in and took over, and and now here we are. AI is definitely faster, smarter. So the thing is you don't want to get left behind. You want to learn these tools, and we want to help you to learn them. So yeah, hang with us and enjoy the process, and if you're in the chat, go ahead and ask questions. And those that, if later on you're watching, you could drop a comment, and we can address it on the next stream. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And also, for me personally, working with AI, it removes the whole writer's block. It removes any brain farts. It removes like almost like the thinking, right? The AI will do the thinking for me. Obviously,
right.
I have to come up with the question, but once I ask it a question, boom, I have so many responses. I can work off of that. And so, it's like a back and forth, right? It's like talking to
Right.
a friend who knows a lot, right?
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing, while we're talking about this is, you want to put in good stuff, because if you put in garbage, that's what you're going to get out. When we just demonstrated that, how I say, just put it in bullet points, well, I did it, but it kept it really big, so like you want to give it good prompts, you want to give it good things. So like Joseph's doing here, he just put in a good prompt, and that's where we're at. So yeah, just hang with us and you're going to
Mm-hmm.
learn from us for sure.
Definitely. So I'm gonna go one by one. And actually, should we give it a little challenge or should we just keep it one by one?
Yeah, we could just go one by one just to
Okay.
keep it simplified. So that way, they follow us along what we're doing and
Mm-hmm.
they get the understanding so we
Mm-hmm.
don't overwhelm them.
Yeah. So basically, just to, again keep it simple, I'm going to copy the prompts because let me go back and explain what I told Gemini. So I told it, hey, I'm working with Notebook LM to study the power of the subconscious mind. Help me come up with questions for someone that is trying to learn or to study mental reprogramming. Give me 5 prompts to give Notebook LM. So prompts are pretty much questions. Think about it like that. So give me 5 things to ask Notebook LM. So boom. Here's question number one, and let's see what it gives us.
So while it's thinking right now, basically what it's doing is that prompt is going to our sources and asking it this question that he just prompted, and this is the results it's going to get back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice. Here. So work smarter, not harder. I'm going to copy what I said last time and then put it back in there. So once it gave me the response, because I don't want to go through all of this or read all of it, I'm gonna tell it to simplify the simplify it into bullet points and then do it into 3 sentences and then put the citations and all that into each bullet point.
All
So
right, all right.
all right, so now Mm, I was thinking a move ahead. So what I want to do is save this. There's no way to rename it. Okay, that's okay. Oh, so that's something that I just learned. So if you click on the note at the very bottom, it says convert to source. So instead of copying everything, I could just convert it to a source. So I didn't know that until just right
Yeah,
now.
but you have to save it as a note. So just a side
mm,
note, you need to
yeah,
save it as a note. So the first time around, he didn't save it as a note. He just copied everything and then did a paste. And on the first one, and yeah, so when you do save it as a note, you can do it as a source. So yeah, very cool.
yeah, very very cool. And so okay, so let's chill out on the questions for right now. I
Yeah,
kind of just want to show off a little bit more features. And this episode one, I kind of just want to show off the features. You know, maybe in future episodes we won't be as tutorial based, but you know, we're trying to ease into how we want to explain things and like what we want to show off, right? So,
right.
it doesn't hurt to show off Notebook LM because we could also turn this into a video, where we use it to explain Notebook LM.
Right, definitely. And again, guys, we're just giving you like the very intro of it. There's so much more that it can do. And as you're playing this back, if you're watching it, the replay, you take your time, you can read through it and see all the steps that we've done. But yeah, definitely, we just want to help you to use this as a tool, to expand on what it is you're reading, or just the research. So you get more wisdom out of it.
Yes, definitely. And in the future, I'll probably want to look for like an article, and then we'll break down an
Mm,
article. That way, it's a little bit easier for you guys, the audience, to follow along, right?
right,
Because not everyone will have access to finding the PDF or having or buying the book, right? So
right.
maybe in the future we could even do an article or a
Well, we'll
it,
go through the Discover there too to show like the
yeah.
key features in the Discover, because that will help you too. Like this, just you put in uh, the topic, and basically what Notebook LM will do is go out and search the web, um, and it'll come back with sources for you, and you can start working like that as well. And we'll go over that one maybe on another stream.
Yeah,
So
definitely, definitely. So, I just want to show off the FAQ,
sure,
and then
let's
I'll do the
go.
timeline because I've actually never touched the timeline.
All right, let's do it, bro. Yeah, that's what this is about, brother. Guys, it's not knowing everything and being the expert. It's about learning and growing together. So,
Exactly. All right, so I'm just gonna create that as a source. Why not? All
and
right.
just on a
Mm-hmm.
side note, guys, also, on the sources there. So, let's say, for instance, as you're building your source list there, and your source list is now getting more detailed, and you're like liking where this is going, and you're asking questions, you could even uncheck some of your old um, sources there. Like, okay, I don't need all this information because now I'm getting down into the nitty gritty. You can do that as well. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and you'll know at the very bottom. So it says 3, 4, 5, right there. So
There you
you'll
go.
you'll know if you have them selected or not.
Very good. Okay, what are we gonna do in this one, bro?
I was just seeing what it gave us. So the FAQ is pretty much like the main idea, right? That way
Oh,
you
okay.
don't have to ask it the main idea. It'll just
Hmm.
tell you the main idea off rip.
So kind of like a summary.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But let's do timeline because
All right, let's check it out.
I've never even clicked it.
Yeah, same here. I usually just, when you just get accustomed to your own little ways, you're
Yep.
like, I only use it for these 4 or 5 things, and then I go this way.
Yep,
So,
yep, yep, yep. I normally do the briefing doc, the mind map, and then the audio overview, which we could do at the very end.
Yeah, yeah. No,
So
for
that's like
sure.
that's a cool thing.
Yeah, I really
Um,
like it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny because a lot of people now are starting to discover the deep dive conversation, the podcast, and I've even heard people actually just put it out there just raw like that. I'm like, man, that's crazy, but it's so good,
It
It,
is,
it
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All right, so timeline and characters. Here's a detailed. All right, so here's where I will say this is a good thing to do, or like, um, this is where Gemini or another AI comes in handy. So it now knows, right? Because I just told it I'm working with Notebook LM, right? So it knows I'm working with Notebook LM. So I will say I just used the timeline feature. And if you want to, you could tell it again in case you don't trust that it will remember. So basically, instead of me thinking, because I even though I see this right, I think it's like a timeline of where it came up with this knowledge. I really don't know, right? So instead of me trying to go through all of this, right? That's a lot.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm just gonna ask Gemini, hey, what does it do? What's it for?
Yeah, well, we'll get the answer together. Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
I never used that feature either. It's just one of those things. I was thinking it was more of like the structure of the sources. So, but we'll
I
see together right
yeah,
now.
I thought it was more like how to formulate this into like a 3 day plan or a 30 day plan. I don't even know what.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, it's kind of what the study guide does is it gives you like a little layout. Um,
Here, let's even do that as we're looking into it. So,
yeah, there's so many ways to spin this. So let's see what it says. Think of it as a way, see the evolution of your thoughts, retrace your steps, understand your workflow, sequence, activity. Yeah, interesting.
that's cool. All right, how to maximize it? Make your
Yeah,
notes.
interesting. Sorry, guys, for the silence. You could see it
Yeah,
on the screen as you're watching. We're reading it along as
yeah,
well.
got you. Okay, yeah. So that's cool. Identify interesting.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's also something that I highly recommend. Is if you take notes on books, to you can upload it, right? You can scan the document, upload it if you write it down. But if you are in the habit of typing out your notes, like I've made that a habit as of the last 2 years, well
Mm.
then I can upload that as a source to either copy the text or a PDF. So let's just use just because we don't have any notes that we've imported, I kind of want to use this as like my notes in a way, right?
Hmm.
So let's say, what does, right? So, okay, so again, multi layered prompt. So I asked it, hey, give me a breakdown. So, what does Joseph Rodriguez say about this book? And what are some key takeaways within this book, right? So, question one, question two, question two, and then how can I apply them to my life?
Mm.
So let's see what it gives us. And while it's doing that, we're going to look at the study guide. Okay, I see. Oh, ooh, nope, never mind. Oh, clicking around too much. All right, so this study guide will help you formulate them into a study guide, right? You can kind of like if it's a informational book, which I would say this is, well then you can kind of make a quiz for yourself and then answer them, and then it will give you the answer key, and then some easy questions to come up with, right? Maybe you're a teacher or a tutor, right? Well, boom, here are some easy questions to ask about the book. Some
Right.
glossary terms, that's cool. Here, let's just convert that to sources. Screw it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
And the more you add to the sources, guys, at the end when he shows you the deep dive, the podcast that it generates, it's just adding more. Think of it as more content, more information, for the AI to convert it to audio. So
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of like adding a bunch of bookmarks. And if you've ever had like a physical book and then you like highlight, or you might even I know some people say this is sacrilege, but if you write within the margins, right? If you write in the margins of the pages, so let me just demonstrate what I mean by that in case someone doesn't know what I mean. Right? So if you were to some people, they will highlight. Oh wait, hold on, hold the phone, hold the phone.
all right,
Let me make sure that everyone can see.
play the music on hold.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, oops. Okay, there we go. All right, so what I mean by that is people will highlight, and then on this area they'll write down, or they might even put an arrow. Let's see if I can do that. I don't think I can. But here, let's make it even more fun. Right? So they will highlight, and then they will um do something like this, and then be like ba 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 ba, right? Or even if you do it like this, right?
right,
So some people, you can really get very creative with your notes, and that's all that is in a way, right? So the more sources that you have, it's almost like you've gone through and you've highlighted it yourself, and then
right.
written your own notes on it. And so, like Henry just said, that will provide a lot more context for the deep dive. So we'll save that for the next. Well, we're almost at an hour. Do you want to go more than an hour, or do you want?
No, we're good, bro. We're
Okay.
good for now.
Okay.
And then that's the thing, guys. We want you guys to come back. We give it all away today, bro. Then it's a lot. So let's bring them back. And yeah, definitely. So we'll give a couple more minutes on this. Whatever you have, we'll look at this. And so this one right here, you typed it in on how to apply this.
Yes.
So
Yeah, and then after we go through this, then we'll do the a little breakdown, or like the deep dive, because that takes a minute or two. So again, just work smarter, not harder. We're gonna copy this, and if you really want to, you can include this, like the instructions, into the prompt if you want to. Again, make your prompt even better. But I kind of like the showing this all this stuff,
right.
and then showing the breakdown, or like the simplification.
Yeah, the bullet point along with a little
Mhm.
explanation.
Mhm.
And then even in some cases too, you can just take one of those bullet points and you say, you know what, I really want to know more about this. You can pump that back in there and have it expand more information. You could just prompt it,
Yep.
and it'll go back and search the sources and give you a lot more information based on that. So I'm telling you, this can take you down a rabbit hole, like where you'll be stuck even just on one source for a long time. And this is how you're going to get the most out of it, because a lot of times you read a book, right? And you never fully grasp everything out of that book, even on the first go around. I mean, I've read a few books a few times, and things that I didn't see at that time, this tool will help you to find those things. So like once you start getting, your familiarity with this tool and you start to understand how it works, you're going to see that, it's even the simplest questions help you get a lot of, information, and how it expounds, more in detail. So again, the more sources you feed it, the more content you can get out of it.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So I definitely have a duplicate source,
Oh, okay.
but that's okay. It's okay. I just because I wanted it to, reflect
Right.
what,
This is for
yeah.
training purposes, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're
All
just
right.
teaching. But, as you start again, guys, when you guys are in here, you're going to see, like, all its capabilities and stuff like that. And you'll just, you might end up like me, just using it for the same 3 or 4 steps that I use it for. So sometimes it goes a little bit deeper when I want to learn a lot more, but for the most part, it just there's so much, and even with that, you can only apply so much in a day. So you got to keep coming back to it and learning from it.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going a little bit. Oh, okay. Okay. My bad. My bad. My bad.
Yeah, you're going a little crazy.
Yeah, a little crazy. Yeah.
You're exceeding 500, bro. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I was going a little ham. So, just to kind of repurpose what we've done, I was I'm using one prompt or one of the 5 questions that I told Gemini to make. That way the AI podcast can talk about it. And I kind of like that identify aha moments.
mm.
So boom, we're gonna have two AIs give us the breakdown.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, and I like this part, man. You guys are gonna really enjoy this. If you ain't never seen this before, it's the first time that I discovered it. It was mind blowing. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
dude, I think I probably fed it like so much stuff, and I listened to so many podcasts, and I was even messing with it, being a fool, and it's still dude, it still generated some funny stuff, which just blew my mind away. But it's so phenomenal because the technology, it really understands the data, and it's mind blowing.
Yeah, definitely. So on your end, Henry, I'm gonna stop the screen share and then I'm gonna share the specific window. That way you can hear it as well. Alright, so once it's done, then you should be able to hear it whenever I play it.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, but yeah, man, this is good, guys. I hope you guys, enjoy it. Again, this is our first live stream. We do have our podcast, so you can check it out right here on this same feed on our Back to Brilliance podcast here on YouTube. And yeah, we got a lot of episodes up there. Me and Joseph been working on this for a while now, so we got a lot of good things coming down for you guys, and we just want to be here to help you guys to grow, to learn, and to use these tools to advance.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, I would say the last 2 episodes that we've done, they've been really good. Uh, I even listened to our most recent one twice. So
Oh wow.
yeah, so just it's good. It's good stuff. All right, so I'm gonna do a little test for you, Henry, just to make sure they can hear it, and then
Okay.
we'll play it all the way through.
Welcome to
Alrighty.
the deep dive.
Yep.
All
We
right, cool. So all right, we're gonna be quiet. We're gonna let them talk, and yeah. Do you want to let them just talk it out until the hour is up, or do you
Yeah,
want
that's
to?
fine, bro.
Okay.
So basically, just tell them where you got all this from and what this is, just to recap for those that are just tuning in, guys. We're going to be closing the stream out shortly, but Joseph's going to go ahead and explain to you guys what we did and what we just gone through, and you guys can also do the playback to check it out.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, this has been a demo of Notebook LM and all of its applications. to break down a book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. And so, as we've gone through, we have not only given it the whole book, but we gave it a book study of it, book summary or whatever, book whatever. And then we've just asked it a couple questions, and from that, we've made notes from it. So we asked it a couple questions, and then we fed them as notes. And now, to kind of tie it all together, now we're gonna hear some AI talk about what we found out. So listen in. Do you want to let it play all the way through, or do you want to?
Whatever you want, bro.
All right,
It doesn't matter.
all right,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll let it play all the way through. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this stream, and appreciate everyone who stopped by right now or live and after we're not live, you know. All right,
Yeah, definitely. Let's hear it, bro. Hit the
all
play button.
right.
Let's check it out.
Welcome to the deep dive. We take the stuff you're curious about and really boil it down to the essentials, sharp and fast.
That's right.
And today, this deep dive is for you, the learner, someone looking to really get knowledge quickly, loves those aha moments, but definitely wants to skip the fluff.
Mm-hmm. And our mission today for you is to unpack Joseph Murphy's ideas from The Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
Okay.
Specifically, we're zeroing in on, well, the best times and the right mental states to feed new ideas into your subconscious, for mental reprogramming.
And crucially, why those times work so well, right? Why they're more receptive.
Exactly. That's the key aha moment we're chasing.
So just to set the stage, Murphy talks about this duality of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, conscious and subconscious.
Correct. You've got the conscious mind, that's your everyday thinking, reasoning, objective mind.
The one doing the analyzing right now.
Precisely. And then there's the subconscious, more subjective, works on feeling, intuition, and it's incredibly powerful.
But, and this seems like a big but, the subconscious is actually influenced by the conscious mind. It takes direction from it.
That's the fundamental
Mm.
principle. The conscious mind impresses ideas onto the subconscious,
Yeah.
and the subconscious, well, that doesn't really argue, it acts.
It acts. How so?
Murphy argues it takes those dominant thoughts, those beliefs you impress upon it, and basically manifests them, turns them into your conditions, your experiences, even the events in your life.
Okay, wow. So that's some serious power sitting there.
Huge potential, yes.
So if we want to consciously use this,
Mhm.
where does Murphy say to start? What are these optimal times or states? The first one you mentioned was drowsiness.
Yes, exactly. That drowsy, sleepy state.
Mm.
Murphy actually references work by Charles Baudouin, professor back in 1910.
Okay.
Baudouin taught that this state, where you minimize effort both physically and mentally, it's the ideal way to impress the subconscious.
Less effort means less resistance.
That's the idea. When you're relaxed, drifting, your mind becomes more passive, more receptive. Physical stillness kind of encourages mental stillness.
So the conscious mind's guard is down a bit.
You got it. The usual critical factor isn't as active. Baudouin even had a specific formula for this.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
He said to condense the idea you want to impress, condense it down into a really brief phrase, something short, easy to grasp.
Like a mantra.
Sort of, yeah. And then repeat it over and over, gently, like a lullaby. No force, no strain, just gentle repetition as you're in that drowsy state.
Okay. That sounds simple enough. Did the book give an example of this working?
It did. A really good one, actually. There was a young woman in Los Angeles caught up in a messy family lawsuit. Very protracted, very bitter.
Right.
So she used Baudouin's technique. She'd get into that drowsy state just before sleep and repeat the phrase, "It is finished in divine order."
It is finished in divine order.
Hmm.
Simple. What happened?
She did this consistently, and she focused not just on the words, but on the feeling of it being resolved peacefully. The feeling of inner peace.
The emotion matters.
Vitally important, according to Murphy. After about, I think it was 10 nights, she felt this profound sense of calm about the whole thing.
And then?
The very next day, her lawyer calls. The opposing side, completely out of the blue, wanted to settle harmoniously.
Wow. That's pretty compelling. A real aha moment right there.
Definitely shows the potential. The relaxed state, the simple phrase, the feeling, it all came together.
Okay, so drowsiness is key.
Yeah.
What about other times? You mentioned right before sleep specifically.
Yes, that period, just as you're drifting off, is highlighted again and again.
Why is that specific transition so powerful?
Well, think about it. Your conscious mind is shutting down for the night, right? Getting out of the way.
Okay.
But the subconscious,
Hmm.
Murphy says it never sleeps. It's controlling your breathing, your heartbeat, all your vital functions. It's highly active all night long.
So it's like the main operating system is still running, even when the user interface goes dark.
That's a great analogy. And because the conscious mind's interference, the doubting, the analyzing is minimal, the subconscious is supposedly much more receptive to suggestions planted right at that time.
Like slipping a note under the door just as the guard nods off.
Exactly. The book mentions a singer who had terrible stage fright.
Oh, yeah. How does she use this?
She'd isolate herself, relax completely, still her mind, and then repeat affirmations. Things like, I sing beautifully, I am poised, serene, confident, and calm.
And she did this when?
3 times a day, and crucially, right before falling asleep.
Did it work?
Apparently, yes, she overcame the stage fright. There's also another example about overcoming a bad temper using similar autosuggestion, repeated several times a day, including before sleep, for about a month.
So consistency matters too. It's not just a one-shot deal.
Consistency, repetition, and doing it in these receptive states, it seems to be the winning combo.
And underlying all of this, whether drowsy or pre-sleep, is this idea of relaxation and stillness.
Absolutely, that's a common thread. Relax the body, still the mind. That physical inertia helps create mental passivity, making you more open to suggestion generally.
Okay, so we have the when drowsy, pre-sleep, and the how relaxation. Simple phrases, feeling it. Let's nail down the why again. Why are these states so much more receptive? What's the core mechanism?
It really boils down to bypassing the conscious mind's gatekeeper function.
The inner critic.
Yeah, the analytical, critical part of your conscious mind.
Yeah.
When you're awake and alert, it's constantly evaluating, questioning, sometimes resisting new ideas, especially if they conflict with current beliefs.
Right, like I can't do that or that won't work for me.
Exactly, those kinds of thoughts. But in these relaxed, drowsy, or pre-sleep states, that critical faculty is much less active. It's subdued.
So the suggestions can just slip past it.
Pretty much. They have a more direct pathway to the subconscious mind. And remember, Murphy stresses that the subconscious doesn't argue or debate.
It just accepts.
It accepts what is impressed upon it, especially if it's delivered with feeling and conviction, and without the conscious mind raising objections.
Which explains why negative self-talk can be so damaging if we let it run unchecked. It's programming the subconscious.
Precisely. If you constantly tell yourself, I can't, I'm not good enough, and your conscious mind accepts that, you're essentially instructing your subconscious to make that your reality. It creates limitations.
But the flip side is, positive suggestions delivered in these optimal states can reprogram it for success.
That's the power Murphy describes. By consciously choosing positive affirmations and impressing them upon the subconscious, particularly when resistance is low, you can change the underlying programming.
It's also interesting how Murphy links the subconscious to creativity and inspiration, mentioning figures like Shakespeare, Beethoven.
Yes, he sees the subconscious not just as a storage area or an automaton, but as the source of our deepest ideals, aspirations, and creative urges. Tapping into it isn't just about fixing problems, it's about unlocking potential.
Yeah, this is really clarifying. So for you, the learner, let's sum up those key aha moments.
Right. First big one. That drowsy state and the moments right before you fall asleep are like prime time for communicating with your subconscious.
Because, and this is the second big aha,
Yeah.
your conscious mind's usual resistance, that critical filter, is way down.
Exactly. It makes the subconscious incredibly open, incredibly receptive to the new ideas, the positive suggestions you want to plant.
So the learner, the invitation here, is to think about how you could actually use this. Where in your life are you looking for change or growth?
Could you carve out a few minutes before sleep, relax deeply, and gently repeat an affirmation that reflects the outcome you want, remembering to connect with the feeling of it already being true?
It's about being intentional with those moments.
Very intentional.
All right, so here's a final thought for you, the learner, to maybe ponder tonight. Now that you understand these optimal times, these fertile moments for planting seeds in your subconscious garden, what specific powerful seeds are you going to choose to sow as you drift off?
Damn.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's crazy. I love it. I wish they had told us a little bit more about Joseph Rodriguez's interpretation. But no, that's I love it. that's a good good boy. That's an attaboy AI.
Yeah, why don't you download it, bro, and then we can just throw it in the show notes,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
in the notes, and that way, those of you guys that are tuning in later and want to hear this, you guys can go ahead and grab it. So we'll drop that in there for you guys after in the live chat. We'll drop it down there so you guys could check it out. But yeah, man, no, this is good stuff, bro. And we'll get into more a deep dive further into Notebook LM and other things, But our whole goal is to just help you guys to, overcome, and build that mindset, so that you can flourish and, you can grow so you don't stay stuck. Another year will pass by and you don't want to stay in the same position, right? So we want to help you guys to get to the next level as well as we're doing ourselves. So check out our podcast too. We have what is it, 12 episodes now, bro? We're in, and
Yep.
we'll be dropping another one soon. So yeah, definitely tune in. Check out our YouTube channel. You can find a lot of the stuff there. And what else you got, bro? What?
Are you good to wrap up, or do you want to keep going?
Yeah, I'm cool, bro. I mean, either way, you
All
know.
right, all right. Let's wrap up this one just because we've gone for an hour, and
Yeah,
we might even extend them, but just for the pilot episode, if you want to say, we'll keep it right an hour.
right. No, definitely. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. And those for you that are checking us out after and doing the replay, again, just stay tuned with us, and we'll have some information so that way we can start notifying you guys. And don't forget to subscribe, so that way you'll be notified when we go live, and we'll get better at this, scheduling and stuff like that. So, yeah, with that, I guess we're out.